everyone, it's Diana from Toronto Platinum Realty team, and today I'm going to walk you through the steps of buying a pre-construction and why buy a pre-construction. So what is a pre-construction? It refers to a real estate development that has not been built yet and in the pre-construction stage. This refers to condos, townhouses, and freehold properties. These are typically sold by developers in order to finance the construction by selling these units before they're sold. Investing in pre-construction can be very attractive for buyers who are looking to get in at a lower price than what it would be after construction is completed. But not all projects and not all builders are the same. You have to do your research and do your due diligence. So why invest in pre-construction? Well, first thing is that you're buying with other people's money, OPM. This is the reason why most people and most real estate investors invest in real estate. What I mean by that is you're putting down a deposit, so anywhere from 10 to 20% of the purchase price, and this applies to pre-construction and resale, and the bank finances the rest. And another couple of reasons is there's tax advantages, which I won't get into in this video, but it's also a great hedge against inflation. So why invest in a pre-construction? Why do all of these people in Toronto love buying a pre-construction? Well, I'll give you some reasons. You're buying into the future, but with today's price. So essentially you're buying what would be the value today, but you're reaping the benefits of appreciation in the future. You don't have to pay a mortgage payment until the property is completed. So when you buy a pre-construction today, you're putting down your deposit that's scattered in 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, whatever, depends on the project, but you're not paying a mortgage until that property is closed, but you're still reaping the benefits of the appreciation. Another reason is passive investment, what we also call lazy investment. This is the best part of pre-construction. It's absolutely hassle-free. You don't have to manage the property. You don't have to deal with mortgage payments. You don't have to worry about interest rates going up and down, at least during the time that the property is being constructed. All you do is put in your deposit and you don't come back to it till 2, 3, 4 years down the line, at which point you've already accumulated sometimes $100,000 to $300,000 of appreciation. This one is particularly good for first-time home buyers. It's kind of like a forced savings plan because your deposit is scattered in installments within 1 to 2 years. So it'll give you an incentive and the motivation to actually work hard and save your money rather than pissing it away, because to be honest, that's what a lot of young people do. There's no motivation and there's no urgency for them. So they think they have all the time in the world, but the real estate market is not going to wait for you. So you have to take action and commit yourself to something. And believe me, when you're in that situation, you will find ways to save money. Another reason is a lot of these projects require 20% down payment. Again, because it's scattered, it's giving you time to actually pay these installments. But what that does for you is it puts you into a better position to get a better mortgage. When you're buying a property with 20% down payment, you're not having to get a mortgage insurance and you're coming into the bank with a higher down payment, which puts you in a low risk category. You're gonna get better terms and better interest rates. This one is you're buying a new home versus a resale. When you're buying a resale, sometimes you have to go in and maybe do some renovations, do some work to the property, do some paint, change the carpet. There might be some things you don't like about it. But with pre-construction, you're buying a spanking new property. If you're planning to move into it, it's gonna feel nice to live in a brand new house. Plus, you can always customize things with the builder. Now, this might be a little bit more expensive than if you were to do it on your own, but the option is there. When you're buying a pre-construction as an investor, by the time it's built, the rents probably have gone up. So you're making good rental income. And you can also assign the property. You can sell it on assignment and make a profit. You won't make as much as if you were to close it and sell it, but the option is there. What are the pros and cons of buying a pre-construction property? Listen, pre-construction is a great investment, but it's not for everybody. So let me just tell you the pros and cons so you can make an educated decision on what works best for you. The pros is it's an easy entry into the market. Another one is easy extended deposit structure, which I just talked about. It's a forced savings plan. You're buying into the future, but with today's price. This is one of the biggest benefits. you have the option to sell it on assignment, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. You can refinance the property right at closing and put it into another property. This is my favorite. You're putting a deposit down on a property you don't even own yet. You're paying no mortgage payments. And the day you close it, and this is not for every single project, okay? But a lot of times when you have that much equity built up, you can go to the bank right away, have that property refinanced, pull money out, and immediately put it into another property. Buying new versus used, I just talked about this. Carry-on warranty. This is a builder warranty that covers you for any damages that might occur within 1 to 7 years. Now, you'll have to check the contract because every year they'll cover different things. This is a huge incentive and a peace of mind for buyers. And the last one is you have a variety of options. When you go into a builder's office, you can choose the floor plans, you can choose the floor, you can choose the view, you can choose what type of design and layout you like. So it's a little different than buying resale where you just go and see a property that's listed on the market. This way, you're actually able to choose exactly what you want that suits you best. Now, let's talk about the cons. One of the biggest disadvantages with buying pre-construction is the delays in construction. And sometimes your project can be delayed 1.5 years, and that can be frustrating. However, this might actually be a pro for some people because if you're buying it as an investment just to reap the benefits of appreciation, then you don't really care if it's delayed. You actually prefer that. Canceled projects. This is by far the worst in my opinion. If you've been watching the news about real estate and about new homes in the past year and a half, you'll know what I'm talking about. There is nothing worse than putting a deposit for a property and a year, 2 years, 3 years down the line, the project cancels on you. But I'm going to get into this a little bit more and how you can protect yourself and prevent things like this from happening, because a lot of these canceled projects are from inexperienced builders. I'll talk a little bit about how to choose a builder. Another one is uncertainty with the market. The market can go up and down, but upwards in the long run. But we do have dips here and there, so you always have to be prepared for that. I know people who have bought pre-construction in the peak of the market and maybe the third or last phase, and when it came down to appraisal time or when the project was built, they were short. The appraisal did not come through. That's scary, and I understand that. There is an element of risk when you're buying a property and you're banking on the market doing its thing. But let me assure you, if you're buying in the first phase and you're waiting 3 to 5 years for that project to be built, I'm pretty sure you're not going to have this issue. But this is something to keep in mind when you're thinking about buying a pre-construction property. Limited visualization. And what I mean by that is you can't walk into the property, touch, feel, smell, see. So, you're kind of going by their renderings, by floor plans, and, you just have to imagine what the future will look like. They do a really good job now with all types of, virtual realities and different kind of videos to give you a really good idea of what the project will look like. But essentially, you are buying a floor plan and you're not able to see the property the way you would do with a resale. So if you're somebody that gets freaked out by that, maybe pre-construction is not for you. I already talked about this, but market uncertainty, especially if you're looking to flip the property. I always tell all of my clients, prepare to close. Okay, even if you're planning to close on assignment, you should always still be prepared to close because you never know what's going to happen. If you're able to flip it right away and make a great profit, amazing, that's plan A. But you should always be prepared to close. And the last one is you're compromising now rental income for the future. So you're buying a property, you're not really making the cash flow. And I've had people like this, I have clients that have said to me, Diana, I really want to buy this project. I love this project, but I feel like I want to make cash flow right now. I want to get into a property and start making that rental income. And I just don't really feel like I want to wait 3 to 5 years for this project to be built before I can do that. And that's fair. If that's kind of where your mind is at, then perhaps you should stick to resale. Here are 2 things you need to remember. Your investment amount. When you're buying a pre-construction or actually any real estate in general, Your investment amount is what you put in a deposit. This is different than if you were to buy stocks. If you were to buy stocks, you're putting $50,000 and you're making money on that $50,000. However, when you're buying real estate, you're putting a deposit or a down payment. That's your investment amount. But what you're making money on is the purchase price. Timeline. Now, be prepared, you're waiting 3 to 5 years. Sometimes maybe a little bit longer, sometimes less, but be prepared for 3 to 5 years if you buy in first access. However, if you're buying in second, third, fourth phases, then your wait time will be shorter, but just be prepared for a long wait. Let's talk about deposit in a pre-construction. I already talked about, you'll probably have to put 10 to 20% down payment, but let's just kind of look at it visually and see what it looks like. The deposit is what you're putting down to secure a unit in a pre-construction condo. Now, a lot of builders will use that deposit as a way to finance the project. Some projects will offer 5 to 10%. Typically speaking, you're looking at 20% deposit. Okay, here is what a deposit structure will look like. I have 2 examples here, and these are from 2 different projects that we've worked on. The one you see here that has been crossed off and has given you this is what we call an extended deposit structure. A lot of times when you get in first access, the builder will offer incentives to you for you to purchase their units. And a lot of that is that extended deposit structure, is giving buyers more time to put down their money. Let's take the first one for example. For $600,000, you will need $120,000 to put down 20%. So how does that even look for a deposit structure that I showed you? Well, you're giving $10,000 at signing, and they typically want the $10,000 in a form of bank draft. And the balance of 5%, which is $20,000 in 30 days. Then you owe another 5%, which is $30,000 in 120 days. These days are from the date that you signed the contract. And then 2.5 in 300 days, 500 days, 600 days, and 700 days. So you can see how scattered this is. It's very, very doable for people to be able to discipline themselves and actually save this money. And it will make you feel good because you're actually working hard and you're saving for an investment property that you know you're going to make money on. Okay, now let's talk about what to look for in a pre-construction property. This is what we always look like. This is what I advise my clients. It's up to you, but this is how I would do it if I was buying a pre-construction. Location, location, location. They don't say that for no reason. This is the most important thing about pre-construction. The good builders will actually be able to buy land beside transit. Transit is the first and most important thing you want to look for, because this is what renters like. Renters want to live beside transit. So make sure that when you're buying a pre-construction, you research the neighborhood. Another thing is you want to look for right to assign. So you want to look for transit, you want to look for master plans, areas where they're building master plans. That's really good because you'll have a lot of population growth in those areas, a lot of development, a lot of infrastructure. You want to look for right to assign and right to lease. A lot of developers are offering this, but just make sure it's on your contract. Cap development charges. This is extremely important. It's so important that they actually started to market their cap development charges. Look, I've had people who have not capped their development fees, and when it came to closing, they were in tears because they had to pay a lot of money to close that project. So make sure cap development charges are in there. Reputable builder. This is by far, this should have been the first one. By far the most important thing. You need to do your research on the builder. You need to work with agents who have experience in pre-construction, who can put you in projects with good builders. You do not want to be the guinea pig for an inexperienced builder. And closing date. If you're looking for a sooner closing date, you might not want to buy a high-rise building in, downtown Toronto, because that's going to take much longer. You want to buy a smaller project with a shorter closing date. Now, let's talk about how to choose a builder. Guys, this is the most important part, okay? If you've never bought pre-construction, you don't know how to decipher who's a good builder and who's not. Honestly, even if you have bought a pre-construction in the past and it worked out, it might have been a fluke. you need to work with somebody that knows who the good builders are. A lot of platinum agents, they work with a lot of builders. They know the good ones and they know the ones to stay away from. But if you're going to do it on your own, let me tell you a few things you need to look for. First, go into their websites. And sometimes when you're looking on Google, you might end up on websites you think it's the builders, but it's other agents that are promoting them. Make sure you find the website for the builder and look at their completed projects. The more completed projects they have, the better. Google their names. This is super simple. Google the developer, see if there's any lawsuits, any bad publicity. If you see any of that, it's a red flag, stay away. If they have a model home, you can swing by and have a look. Now, I haven't seen a model home in Toronto in a very, very long time, but a lot of sales offices are starting to have model suites. If they have one, check it out because you can see their finishes and quality. During the 10-day cooling period, which I'll talk about in another video, you can do your due diligence by checking some of their completed projects, going and looking at what they've completed. Now, a good builder will get better and better with time, but this will give you a really solid framework. And the last one, check Terrion website and make sure that there's no deficiencies with that builder. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you were curious about pre-construction, I really hope that this video shed some light on the ins and outs of pre-construction. If you would like my team to help you navigate through the process, you can give us a call at the number here, but it's 647-977-9752. I'll have the rest of my information here. And please, if you like this video, share it, comment on it, and share it with other people, other friends. So I would really appreciate it, and click the like button. See you next time.